So welcome to our third episode of Wellbeing. I'm your host, Trevor Dublin, and I'm thrilled to be here at Pure Barre in Park Ridge with the co-owner, general manager, and instructor, Kim Seelig. Kim and her team of instructors will be introducing us today to Pure Barre's latest mind-body fitness techniques as featured in their Align program. We'll learn about how Align can help you to improve your strength, your balance, mobility, and flexibility with demonstrations of its healthy and stress-reducing approach, which combines short bursts and moderate exercise with gentle stretching and breathing techniques. Now, Kim, it's a pleasure and an honor to welcome you to PKRG-TV.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you.
I'm so happy to have you. So Kim has a fascinating background, which has led her to where she is today. She grew up in Northern California and moved to San Diego, where she studied dance at the San Diego State University. After graduating with a bachelor's degree in dance, Kim moved to New York City and eventually to Denver, Colorado, where she began teaching yoga and barre fitness classes. In 2016, Kim and her family moved to Park Ridge, where she joined the newly opened Pure Barre studio as a teacher, eventually becoming a lead teacher, then general manager, and most recently co-owner. Kim, it is such an honor and pleasure to have you here today. I want to just say welcome. Welcome to PKRG-TV.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So I'm really excited to be here. I'm really excited to hear about your journey.
Thanks.
And the whole Align program. So if you can just tell us, what exactly is Align?
It's a great question. And to kind of go into it, I'm just going to give you a little bit of context. Pure Barre in general, it's been around for 20 years now, and it started out with just one format, but we've expanded now to 4 different formats that we teach in the studio. So to give you an idea, we started with just Pure Barre. It became Pure Barre Classic when we introduced more formats. So Pure Barre Classic is really, it's a low impact, high intensity workout. We use light weights and high repetitions, and that is kind of how you get some strengthening and toning. We have another format called Pure Barre Empower. That is our more cardio-based workout. It's high intensity intervals. It's more about endurance. That's another one people just love. But on top of that, we have Pure Barre Define, which we use much heavier weights. We go up to 20 pounds with those, and it's bigger movements. It's something that you would find more in a strength training class. And all of those are focused on so much strength training that there was kind of this need for more of a restorative kind of stretching flexibility class. Mm-hmm. So we have Pure Barre Align, and that's really the focus is on stability, on balance, on stretching, and on flexibility, and it's just a great way to kind of complement all those other formats that we have.
That's amazing. That's so amazing. Yeah. So I know that Align kind of takes some of, I guess it's what should I say, inspiration.
Yeah.
Right, from yoga.
Yes.
Right. So just tell me how the similarities and the differences between what Align is and yoga.
Yeah. Well, anyone who has taken a yoga class is going to come into Align and be a little familiar with some of the postures, some of the movements that we do. They're both based on stretching. They're both based on, working on your flexibility. And so they're going to have that in common. But it's also some of the same stretches that you would do, preparing to go for a run, that kind of thing. It's just really to prepare your body to get a little more limber. But it's a little different because there is a really big strengthening aspect to it. So we start the class with just sort of a mind-body connection, breathing, a big stretch to start, but then it goes right into about a 3-minute plank. And it's not just holding a plank for 3 minutes. We kind of, our members sort of move around in that plank and modify it where needed. But it is a lot of work right off the bat.
Right.
So the whole class is kind of structured to be some stretching, some work, some more stretching, some more work, some more stretching. So whereas yoga is really focused on lengthening muscles just the whole way through, we definitely have that, but there's a lot of strengthening in there as well.
So definitely a lot of combination of all those. So,
Yeah.
obviously not weightlifting, but just exercising and just freelance
Yeah.
dancing. I noticed that one of the things that you'd mentioned is that there's a lot of music that's incorporated
Yeah.
into, what you're training. Tell us a little something about, that and what inspired.
Yeah, well, the musical aspect of a Pure Barre class is kind of what gives it that sort of the energy that just kind of goes throughout the class. When you hear a good song, you kind of want to move anyways. So it's just nice to have the choreography that goes along to the music. For the most part, you're moving to the beat, and it just kind of provides a guideline for timing, for the tempo, but it also just makes working out so much more fun.
Yeah, I in a previous life, I actually sung with Alvin Ailey Dance Company. So they're ad hoc sort of. So I would, they would dance around me as I sang, and I had a friend of mine who actually was a dancer with them. But so I know the dancers are athletes. Huge.
So true.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you really, and there was and later in the show, we're going to show you a little, preview of what you guys are doing, what you did. But there's a lot of stretching and there's a lot of limberness. It's not easy, you know? So how many classes do you tend to have in a given day? And is this 6 or 7 days a week you do this?
Yeah, we're open 7 days a week, and we have weekdays, we have about 8 classes.
Okay.
So we do have that early morning class, and then we start a morning chunk of classes. They go 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, and then we have another chunk in the evening, 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30.
Okay.
So that's a lot. We have over 50 classes a week,
Right.
so something for everyone. And then the weekends, of course, we have weekend classes, but those are just in the morning. We don't do any afternoon classes.
Awesome, awesome. So we talked about how Align helps you to build muscle and strength, and without using free weights. Because I try to. You try to do a little something in the gym. Maybe I don't know if it shows, but it's fun. But tell me, how is someone able to build muscle?
Yes.
Without using weights, using Align?
Well, a big thing in Pure Barre in general is that you're using your own body weight. And we do use, we have resistance tubes and a ball that we'll sometimes use. We have light weights. We don't use those for Align. But your own body weight is really enough to give you a pretty good strengthening workout. You'll find that if you just go to a gym and you just start lifting weights, it's really targeting one muscle group. Even if you go sit on a machine, it'll show you, this is how you use this machine. This is the exact area of your body that you're targeting. But with Align, it is so focused on stability and balance that you're really working a lot of different muscle groups at once. So just for example, if you stand on one foot, with intention, you're going to be using your abdominal muscles to just kind of keep your balance. But now, to add on to that, if you stretch your leg long behind you, suddenly you've recruited your glutes. We call it your seat at Pure Barre. But you're using your gluteal muscles, you're using all of your quad muscles, maybe even recruiting your calves to point your toe. And then maybe you stretch your arms forward. Now you've got your shoulder girdle engaged, your chest. It's that whole full body exercise that you're looking for. When you put it all together and add on more, you're getting such a good, well-rounded workout. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of benefit to just using your own body weight, and just balance is such a big part of it.
So just talking to me makes me want to sit up straight.
I know, right? I know, all this talk.
The posture, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of folks, have considered weight lifting programs, and they're concerned that building muscles and bulking up, might actually reduce their flexibility or mobility. How does Align enable you to build strength and also improve flexibility and mobility?
I think that a really good, well-rounded fitness routine is going to have that weightlifting aspect, or strength building in some way, but it should also have flexibility in it. You're going to find that with any class that you go take for weightlifting, there's usually some part of a stretch routine before and sometimes after, but it's really the flexibility and the stretching that you get when you take an Align class. It's not just to get you better at taking an Align class. It's really meant for every other fitness routine that you do. If you think of something like a squat, if you have more flexibility and a bigger range of motion, you're going to get more out of that one specific exercise. But it truly applies to kind of anything that you're going to do. Even like the functional mobility stuff. More flexibility is only going to, improve everything else that you do in life. From exercises to just, picking up a box or going upstairs.
Yeah. So this is just goes way beyond, obviously, just a class.
Yeah. So I mean, but if you're just bulking up and you're not doing any stretching, that is a reasonable expectation that you're going to lose the flexibility. So, align in concert with anything else you're doing is just going to be a great complement to it.
So for the beginners out there, people who are beginning their journey towards, building physical and mental fitness, how does Align enable them to make meaningful progress? How do you know when you're pushing yourself too hard?
Well, I would say physically, you can reach those benchmarks and you can kind of feel that and see that in your own body. So, I mean, something as simple as, say, just for example, a push-up. Push-ups are really very challenging. So,
yes, they are.
Yes. So we always kind of start off with sort of a modified push-up. Perhaps it's on your knees. Perhaps you're even leaning up against the bar and doing it a little more vertical than a regular push-up would be. But you're going to see even growth from that. So from doing a push-up at the bar, very small, maybe you get a little bigger, maybe you eventually move to the floor and do it on your knees. And then from there, maybe you make it onto your toes. So I think the physical ability, that is going to come, and that is very trackable. I don't think it's like a straight line up. I think there's a lot of, back and forth depending on the day. But definitely something that you can feel and see a difference over time. The mental part of it, I think that comes with your first class. So when you're a beginner, just getting to class is a win. That's huge. And then getting through the class, another huge confidence builder, just knowing that you can do this thing for 50 minutes, even if you had to modify all of the class, it's still making steps toward it. But I think building that mental strength of knowing what you're capable of, testing it and surprising yourself with how much more you can do, I think that's huge. You don't want to go too far with it. I think there's definitely, if there's ever a concern about injury, you never even want to get to that point. And that is, that's part of listening to your body. The very beginning of Align, it starts with just sort of this stretch and connecting your breath to your movements. Inhaling, stretching your arms up, exhaling and back bending just slightly. It's just that first part of class is this moment to be in your body, to be really present, to feel what stretches are nice and what is a little off, and where you can pull back and push forward. So I think the important thing with not taking it too far is really listening to your body, figuring out where that edge is and where you can go a little bit past it and not going too far past it.
Awesome. What does the Align program offer to more experienced fitness buffs? For example, folks who've already taken a number of Pure Barre classes.
It's funny you should ask that. We introduced Align back in, January 1st, so right at the beginning of the year. And right off the bat, it was a huge hit, specifically with our veteran members. So I'm talking about the people who come here 5-6 times a week. They didn't continue coming 5-6 times a week. They would add on additional Align classes because it's so complementary to what we're already doing. So they're getting their strength classes, but then on top of that, this is kind of like a forced pause. It's a class, yes, but it's also just a chance to center and restore and find your breath. And it's less about results, and it's really more about feeling your body, moving it in ways that feel good, that feel restorative and wonderful.
So I heard you say that each one of those classes are about 50 minutes, correct? So that's a good A good period.
Yeah, it's a good chunk of time. It's, you know, we encourage everybody, turn off your phone, leave it in the other room, you know, just shut out the outside world and just let this be your time, you know? You know, speaking of mental health, it's just that's such a huge part of it, is making yourself and time for yourself. It's huge.
You know, there's many people who are going to be looking at this in different age groups, right? Tell us about the age groups that come to the program, and for us that are a little older, right? You know, how do we, you know, how do we, what's the benefit that we would be able to get?
It's a great question, and just legally speaking, 16 is the youngest that people can come in, and that's with a parent or guardian until you're 18. But we do have those like 16-year-olds that'll come with their mom. But all the way up to, we have members who are in their 80s, and it's really, all of our formats are meant for all age groups, all ability levels, all fitness levels. And that's because it's low impact, it's very dialable, it's very modifiable, so it really is meant for everybody. But yeah, what we're doing with, especially with balance and mobility, it's really important, especially as you get up in age, you know. It is an inevitability that we will all fall over at some point in our lives. It's the ability to get back up, the practicing your proprioception and your balance, and, you know, feeling your weight and yourself in the world. You know, it's just so important for all age groups, but I think especially as we get older, having that mobility, just the regular functional movement that we rely on in life, you know, Align helps you with all that by getting you in touch with your body. Your core is such a big part of that. So yeah, it helps all age groups. But I do find that as you get older, it is only more beneficial.
So I'm sure you hear from a lot of, you know, maybe seniors that say, you know what, look, I've developed some arthritis, or, you know, my knee, whatever, and coming to this, you know, program has really helped me to be stronger, so I can lift my groceries, I can get in and out of my car, I can get, you know. So those are the sort of things that really helps, correct? That's been able to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so much about, I mean, we all know that exercise is important just for day to day. It's not one of those things
100%.
That's optional anymore.
100%.
I mean, I feel like it was like a bonus. You would sometimes do it if you could. But now we're seeing, like, if you want to live a long and healthy life, you need to be incorporating some form of moderate exercise 3 to 5 times a week, 30 minutes at a time. And this is just a really fun way to do that. But yeah, it's hugely important. I think we're learning that more and more.
That's so great. So Kim, so I understand now we're going to get a chance to see a demonstration section of pretty much everything that we've been talking about. So I'm really excited to see, you know, that. So
yeah, we have a quick run through. It's kind of an abbreviated version of our class, but you get a good sense of what happens in it. And we have our lovely instructors and a couple clients, so you can see what it's really all about. Awesome.
I'm excited.
Hi everyone, my name is Lindsay. Let's get started. Come to the center, zip your thighs, knees and feet together. Arms are going to come by your side. Start with a big breath in, sweep the arms up to the ceiling. Take the gaze between your palms. And then bend your elbows, bend the knees, hinge backwards, take your gaze up to the ceiling. Feel the chest starting to expand.
So we start every Pure Barre Align class with just this nice deep stretch, kind of connecting the breath to the movement. It's a great time to just tune into your own body, see how you're feeling today, about your flexibility, how strong you're feeling, what parts of your body you're going to need to hold back on, what you maybe want to push a little further with. But really, this beginning part, it's really just all about stretching out, centering yourself, and getting a little more comfortable in your body. What's great about Align, it's really meant for everybody. So no matter how fit you are, you can kind of find the right level for you. Everyone's going to stretch a little differently. Every body is a little bit different. So it's pretty normal that everyone's kind of doing their own thing. So right after this beginning section, we move to a little bit more work. So you're going to see them head into a plank position. And this is the first real strength building portion of the class. So much core work here. So their abs are working super hard.
Hold the knee to the chest, pull right.
And just really starting to activate their core, but also their shoulders and everything. So you see how it's a little bit of work, a little bit of stretch.
Stagger them. Left arm comes to a half O, left arm open, then close 2 counts.
And we move to music, but it's really up to everybody to just see where they're at that day. Some people tend to move a little slower, a little faster.
Both hands down. This time left knee to
There's some unilateral work, like you'll see, she's just focusing on this one side of the body, even though both sides are working. And then, of course, she'll even it out. But there is some stuff that we do for both sides of the body.
cross the left foot through, stagger your feet, right arm to a half.
It doesn't seem like much at this point, but they're all holding this plank for about 3 minutes at the beginning of class. So it's a lot of work right here.
Head back center, both hands down, forward part combo. Hips pike for 2, lower down for 2.
So you see how some of these movements are kind of reminiscent of what you might do in a yoga class. This looks like a down dog and sort of a plank, but we kind of put our own spin on it by adding a little more work to it.
And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So every section will have some work, and then it goes to a quick stretch.
Take your seat to the ceiling, chest to the floor.
And then we move on to more work.
You're going to swing your legs through. Plant your feet
So
down.
throughout class, you're going to see these sections of strengthening
Extend the right
paired
leg
with
to the front.
sections of
Both arms
stretching.
reach up, shoulders are hovering. Start with the hip flexor. It's out and in. Turn out, then in. Then lower to a hover.
So lots of abs working here. But it's all the things. It's their cores, legs, arms, chest, shoulders.
Hold the ankles crossed. It's curl and curl. This time plant both feet
You can
down.
kind of make it your own. Everyone's going to modify when they need to.
Turn in.
But yeah, you got that unilateral work.
Hold the turn out.
And I love it. If it's ever too much on your neck, hands behind the head is a great option.
Hold the lift. Last change. It's curl and curl. Try to get
And you'll see the instructor is going to kind of guide you through the whole way. She's going along with you. She'll sometimes walk around and offer modifications.
Squeeze everything in. And then you're going to roll it up. Come up to the
And of
ceiling.
course,
Same thing in the front. Heels are going to come together.
we do use some equipment.
Take the right leg, cross it.
We have a resistance tube, we have a ball, but we don't use it for every
And then hands
class.
to prayer. Squeeze the seat. Just the right heel to 1 count. It's lift and lower. Lift and lower.
So this is one of the more challenging parts of the class because it's so balance focused.
Hold the lift. Float the right toes. You're going to rainbow them up and forward for 2. Up and back for 2.
Balance is already really challenging, but then you add in this movement, so it's not just their core that's working. Again, it's kind of compounding all these movements. It's just going to make it more challenging.
Up and extend to the side. Your upper body lift.
You can see just shifting the weight requires so much work. Focus, stability. So this class really has it all.
And then bring the right leg behind the left. Legs are in an X. Hands come behind the head. You hinge forward. Then lift.
And even something like this, it's called a good morning. You might find it in a regular strength building class,
Holding and flash. Change.
but we include that too. It's so good for the backs of your legs, for your core and shoulders.
And then drop it down.
And then of course, there's some work, some balance and strengthening and stability, but then it goes into a nice deep stretch, kind of a little bit of recovery.
Together. Hands to prayer.
And again, that kind of unilateral working out. You're going to be working 2 different sides of your body,
Lower.
sort of evenly, but you know, people are people. They're unbalanced, so every now and then you're going to get a little more work on one side, a little more stretch on one side, and it's all just different versions of normal.
Then rainbow back.
Varies from body to body, but also from day to day.
Spread out your right
So it's
toes.
nice they've kind of tuned into their bodies. They're taking it at the level that's right.
Hold the knee up.
So much focus to be able to hold on to
Grab
this.
both of your hands for that knee. Next one, hold the hinge. Now drop everything down to the carpet. And your knees roll it all up through center. And now we will make our way on over to the bar.
And of course, it is a bar class, so even though we use a lot of equipment, we always use the bar at some point. It's more for balance than anything like that. We'll pull off the bar, we'll lean into the bar. But now we're back to a section of work, of strengthening. And there'll be some of this, and then it'll move into another deep stretch.
Then find your flattest back at the bottom. Hold it here, isometric hold. Round the back 2 counts as you drop the head. Then flatten out 2 counts. Nice.
Really subtle movements. The goal is to get into all of the muscle groups with each movement.
Isometric hold. And then nice change. Coming up to standing, you're going to bring your left side to the bar. Feet are going to come wider than your hips. Toes stay forward.
So in this class, you're going to see definitely some moves that you might recognize from yoga, but a squat is something that you'll do in a regular fitness class.
Coming to a little needle here, outer right seat.
And we always just kind of add our own Pure Barre extra to it.
Just a little tiny movement. That's it, nice, Sandra. Hold it back. Option to pop up to the left tiptoe. Isometric hold. Try to bend that left knee a little more. Nice, Natalie. Number 9. It's round. Then flatten.
And you're going to see Lindsay, our instructor, just moving around the room. She kind of offers hands-on corrections. Sometimes she'll help people go deeper into whatever it is they're doing. Sometimes she'll help them ease off and find another modification.
Left hand to your hip. Do squat 2 counts. It's squat. Then stand lift. There's 5.
So
6,
focused.
7, 8, 9, and 10. And then you're going to face into the bar. You're going to bring the left arm out to the side. Side bend 2 counts to the right side. And come up center.
So you just saw all that work where they're pulling off the bar and holding in that static chair, doing squats. A lot of work. But then, of course, that's coupled with a big section of stretching in a couple of different ways. A lot more the beginning half of class is focused on the strengthening. The second half of class is a lot more stretch.
You're going to take the left leg to the side. Right arm goes out to your side. You side bend left. You're going to sweep the arms overhead. Pull the elbows down, hinge back.
This kind of pulls it back from the beginning of class. Just a nice deep stretch. Back to connecting the breath and the movement.
And then here's where you step back to a plank. Press the space with your neighbor. Shift the hips up. You're going to extend the right leg to the ceiling.
And this is a movement that we do in every Align class. There's ways to sort of modify it, but
Pull the right knee through to the right.
yoga practitioners will recognize this as a pigeon stretch. It's a deep hip opening stretch.
And then start to hinge forward.
And it's a little uncomfortable, but it's a really, really great way to just kind of relax, get uncomfortable, but also find some peace in the discomfort.
To your hands. You're going to send your feet back to
It's as much a mental exercise as a physical exercise because, you know,
the ceiling. Bend
you find this point that you're not quite comfortable with and you go a little bit past it, figure out how to breathe through it and make it your own.
Uncurl your right toes. And then find whatever hand position works best for you. Back to your center. Step back to a plank.
And we always give our members a lot of room to kind of make it their own. So sometimes people will stay in a position a little bit longer. Sometimes they come out of it a little sooner.
Press up to a cobra.
It's really such an individual workout. Of course, it's guided by an instructor, but we want everyone to just get the most out of it, whatever that might look like that day.
Fours here. Drop your head round your spine, knees down at your navel. That right arm up to the ceiling. And then thread the needle down through to the left side. Take the gaze to the left.
And you'll notice when you take this class, we dim the lights so it's a little darker than it would be in a regular class.
All fours.
The music is a little bit softer. The mood is just a little bit mellower, and that's really just to encourage everybody to slow down.
This time, stagger yourself out. Pull the left leg in, right leg goes out long. Right arm down, left arm comes up and over, side bend, look under your arm.
This last section of class is mostly on the floor, so that it's less balance, less strengthening, and a lot more stretching. And there's just so many ways to go about it, that we kind of move around a bit, but always kind of looking for that static hold.
Pull the left forearm down, the right arm comes up, and you look over.
And you'll see the instructor just provides all these hands-on assists to help take you deeper into your stretches. Feel it a little bit deeper.
Circle the arms back and dive forward. Noise.
You can see everyone's range of motion is a little different. Everyone's flexibility is a little different, but there's still something to gain from it by going a little further than you might have the day before.
Circle your ankle out. And then open the right knee to your right shoulder. Across your body all the way to the left. Let your leg drop down. Send your right arm out to the side. And then come back through center. This time switch it out. Left knee to the chest. Right leg goes long. Circle out your ankle.
And by the end of class, all the lights are off. The music's gotten even softer. And we finish in the same way. So nice deep stretch. And then it finishes every time with just a nice long rest.
Squeeze everything into a tight ball. Bend every muscle in your body. And then extend your arms and legs long. Stay here for a few breaths. So your chest starts to rise and fall.
Rest is just as important as the workout. Just letting all that work settle into your body. So this is a really important part of class and one that's included in every aligned class.
Into your chest. And then use that momentum to have a seat facing front. Cross the ankles, knees go wide. You're going to sweep the arms up to the ceiling, just like you started class. Then exhale.
And finishing kind of in the same way, connecting the breath and the body with the movement.
Press the palms together, hands come down to heart center. And then when you get there, give yourself and your neighbors a small round of applause. If you guys have questions, I'm happy to answer any of them. And have a great rest of your day.
And that's the class.
You know, so as you guys were exercising, I was watching your lead instructor.
Yeah.
And it made me ask the question, what do you look for as an owner for that person, for that instructor? Because it's huge, right? That person has to be able to motivate, you know, they keep people want to come back.
Yeah.
You know, so what are you looking for when you're hiring someone?
That is the $1 million question. Because it's so it's so many things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is the technical part of it, of being able to hear and count music, to be able to perform some of the movements correctly, you know. But it's also that personality that you're talking about, you know. It's like, you know, the teachers are making a connection with the members as well. And, you know, to be working out and to hear your name called in class that you're doing a great job, it's just like that extra push you sometimes need to go a little further.
Yes.
But all of our instructors are also really well versed in like anatomy and physiology. That comes with the training, but they have to be just really comfortable with people, really comfortable with Pure Barre, all of the formats that we teach. We tend to get a lot of our teachers from our client base. You know, we see someone who's just in it and just loves it, embraces it. And, you know, in fact, Lindsay, who taught the class earlier, she was a client first. Three of those were all clients first, and they just loved it, embodied it, wanted more of it, and we wanted them. So
yes,
it worked out really well.
That's really, really great. And plus it comes from the top too, right? Because you're really sunny and beautiful, smart, beautiful, you know, and it's like, you know, that energy obviously transfers to your employees, right?
I hope
and you
so.
set that bar every day.
Yeah, I mean, since the beginning, I have loved being here. It's really, when I started here, I had two little kids. I had a 2-year-old and an almost 1-year-old, and love them so much, and also loved taking a break from them, being an adult for a minute, and like getting to know this community, and then go back and love them more again. You know, it's like,
So cool.
it's like a little happy place. It's a little break from reality, you know?
Yes. So getting back to Align, right? So
Yes.
Align, I'm sure you see people with injuries, and
Yes.
So how are you able to help those people get back to independence, mobility?
Yeah.
You know, how is, because I know that can be difficult if they've
Yeah.
been in an accident or, you know, whatever. You know.
Yeah, and people are always coming in really nervous about trying a new fitness routine because of an accident or an injury or something like that. That happens all the time. But what's awesome is that people will always come in and they'll be like, I did some of those exercises with my physical therapist. So a lot of what we do in all of our Pure Barre classes, we call it PT adjacent, because you're doing these low impact exercises that are meant to rebuild and work your muscles and your joints in the way that they were meant to work, in a really safe and effective way. So that's all of our classes, but I would say Align even more so, because it's so focused on your core, on your stability, and on your balance, that once you've kind of got that locked down, you know, you can focus on healing the other parts of your body. Besides that, everything is modifiable. We've seen all kinds of injuries, and we're lucky to have, you know, people can take something that you would do on the floor and they'll take it over to the bar. You know, we have that option. If somebody can't kneel down, they can use the bar also to kind of like fold over instead. There's just so many ways to work around it. And our instructors are all awesome and know, I mean, they've all been around the block and they've seen all of it too. So they know how to adjust and how to make it work for everybody, really.
And engage them.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
important. Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I know that people are busy, and you know, there's many times people say, oh my gosh, I don't have time for the classes. But once they learn, let's say they come here a few times, and the techniques, how often do they need to come and, you know, to continue to make sure that they maintain whatever it is that they've learned, because it's pretty important, right?
It's a great question, but it's also really individualized. I would say, all of our formats, but especially Align, is safe to do every single day of the week. It's not something that's going to be really strenuous on your body. It is more restorative. So you could do it every day if you can have time every day to come in, but that is probably a tall order for most people. So I always say, like, as much as you can, that is what you should do. If you can come in once a month, that is a great place to start. Maybe from there you come in once a week, but you're going to feel better. Immediately after class, you're going to feel good. You're going to feel stronger. The next day, though, you're going to feel even better, and you're going to want to come back the next day. If you can, if you can make it work once a week, that's amazing. If you can come in twice or 3 times or more, it is all fantastic. If you can't come in at all and you just have to wait it out and do your best at home, that is also awesome. The point is to do what makes your body feel good. If you can do that here, even better.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Is there anything else you wanted our viewers to know? I know that Pure Barre is part of a large chain, right?
Yeah.
And there's new things that you're constantly working on, right?
Yeah, we're always growing and developing. Pure Barre has over 600 studios around the country. All individually owned, and we're obviously thrilled to represent our studio in Park Ridge. I want everyone to know that we offer free introductory classes several times a week. We believe in the technique. We know that you're going to try it and love it. So we just give out these free classes. They're specifically tailored to people who have never tried Pure Barre before. So when you come in and take the class, your instructor is going to go over all the lingo, all the words she's going to say that you're going to be confused by. She's going to explain it. She's going to explain the flow of class, the mind-body connection that you're looking for when you take a class. And you're surrounded by other people who have no idea what they're doing. So you're all kind of in the same boat together, figuring it out. And no one has to feel like sheepish that, they're the one who's new and doesn't know what they're doing. So it is just a great opportunity to come in, no commitment, we really just want you to try it.
I really applaud what you're doing here, because I know post-pandemic, or we're in the middle of it and the end of it, depending on how you want to look at it. People are so stressed out.
Yeah.
People are not sleeping at night. There's a lot of physical, mental, emotional effects that have been, that have occurred.
Yeah.
And something like this is brought, obviously, community, right? It's brought calm, right? And of course, physical, mental, and I would even say spiritual, right?
Yeah.
Strength and center. So it's really amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm so honored.
Thank
We are
you.
so honored to have had
Thank
you
you.
here, on well-being. And
I've loved being here. Thank you for letting me just share my passion for all of this. I love how Pure Barre and well-being focused.
yes.
It's this all came together so
Yes.
perfectly.
I've really learned a lot, and I think that our viewers will also be inspired by your team's demonstration of aligned techniques for developing flexibility, strength, balance, and relaxation. So, how can our viewers find out more about the Align program as well as other programs offered at Pure Barre?
I'm so glad you asked. You can head to our website, which is purebarre.com/parkridge. We're also on Instagram, Pure Barre Park Ridge NJ. TikTok, if that's your thing, is Pure Barre Park Ridge. And Facebook, Pure Barre Park Ridge.
So again, I just want to thank you, Kim, and just to remind our viewers, don't forget to tune in to other upcoming episodes of Wellbeing series airing on PKRG-TV, where there's something for everyone. Thank you.